everyone. It is 6:23 p.m. Having four members of the Conservation Commission present, those being myself, Peter Crane, Willard Cannon, Jared Gentilucci, and Melissa Danza. I declare that we have a quorum, and I am opening tonight the October 6th meeting of the Conservation Commission. I'm going to waive the reading of the remote meeting notice because everybody knows we're remote and everybody knows how to behave. So we'll just move on from there. First thing is minutes. So I do have a note on the minutes, Tamika. Yep. So here on 136 Maple Ave, yes, you started exactly right, which is here. And then you said on another note, everything below that's on another address. So I'm wondering if we should have that on a different topic. Just say follow up to 133 Glenwood.
Sure, I can do that.
Because that makes it very clear from scanning that it's separate. That's my only thought on the entire thing.
You don't.
The only other, oh, sorry. The only other thing I saw in the RDA, it says sonnet tubes. It's supposed to be sono, S-O-N-O.
Interesting. So I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
Oh, really?
I feel enlightened now.
I thought it was going to be autocorrect.
No, I got to take the blame on that one. Sheesh. All right. Well, hey, I learned something new. Thank you, Melissa. I will fix that.
Let's have a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Amended.
As amended.
Second.
Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. That carries. All right. Let's see how quickly we can scream through this. I'm going to reopen the hearing for the notice of intent for Clea Nancy Blair on Finn Park Road. We did a site walk. That is to say, Melissa, Jared, and I did a site walk there, and we reviewed things. Anybody want to give a report briefly?
I think it was consistent with what we discussed at the last meeting, talking about that area by the pond and the final condition and what, any trees that would be removed or proposed plantings, and kind of revising that in the meantime.
Okay.
There was some really sour grapes.
Yes, they were. And they were all right by the water, so they're not going away. Okay. I do want to say, actually, Jared, do you want to talk about it? Or you want me to talk about it?
About the stamp?
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay.
So I did a little bit of research into the PE and PLS of record on the drawing, which is, I'm just pulling it up in front of me here, James Calix. So I did a quick check earlier today. His PE and PLS licensure both expired this past June 30th. So in my opinion, I think for this to now be a valid plan, because it has since been revised on August 20th, that it needs to be stamped by a PE and a PLS with a current and valid license, which it is not currently. So I feel that, at least I would not vote to approve this for an order of conditions until we get an updated plan. Everything else on the plan I think is fine. I think I believe they've incorporated all of our comments. Just the stamps are expired.
I would concur that we cannot approve a plan that is invalid because it's not stamped, which is a requirement, which is fine. So I'm satisfied that we can. Tamika, I would like you please to send an email to Julian, or email's the best. Or phone call, whatever. Just saying that we've noticed that Mr. Calix's license has expired and we need indication has been renewed, and that a plan signed by the engineer after his license is renewed is required for us to continue.
Got it. I will do that.
I would also say, or documentation from the state licensing board that
Fair
they
enough.
extended it due to COVID. Because I know they did that with some of the building stuff. So I don't know if they did that to this side of things.
So I think I know, I probably should remember this. Mine was up for renewal this past June as well. I renewed mine back in, I think it was April, because I did it right away because I didn't know if it'd be delayed. And I couldn't have it delayed because I need to stamp plans. I don't know if they extended that. I'm not sure. I could double check that. When I got my renewal, I don't remember it mentioning anything, but I may have just glossed over it because I sent it right back in the next day.
I'm going to let Julian and Mr. Calick
we'll let
figure
them
it all
figure it
out
out.
and let us know.
Yep.
Peter, there was one other thing, and this had come up before. I'm just looking at the latest plan we have. It does still show the old erosion control detail with only straw wattles, and we did request that they provide silt fence and straw wattles for the erosion control barrier. So I think the one last thing on the plans that I would recommend they do is update that detail before we, finalize it.
We will have that as a special order.
Right. Yes.
Anyway.
And I think we talked about the tailings pit as well. I think Julian was going to put that on too.
That's right.
Okay, so another revision with all that would be fine. Anything else from the commission on this? I'll open it up to the public. If anybody would like to speak on this notice of intent application. Oh, I see a hand. Ms. Schmidt, please. Name and address and please proceed.
Yes, Karen Schmid, and it's 1534 Deer Path Circle in Warrington, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have it. Just a quick question. I am aware that the Board of Health rejected their application. So out of curiosity, why is this continuing? I don't know, so I'm asking.
Well, it's a different process with a different board that has no jurisdiction over the health issues. Board of Health will run their process. We will run our process because we look at different elements. So that should the Board of Health approve the revised plan, if there's no reason for us to not have it ready if the Board of Health approves, because there's nothing about the Board of Health that would interfere with our ability to make a decision and and as necessary make conditions.
Okay. I'm still not 100%. I guess I'm just confused. If it's already been rejected by one board, why is another board still continuing with it?
Because they paid money to get a notice of intent hearing, and we're giving them a notice of intent hearing. And it's, in fact, Massachusetts state law says we must have a hearing because they've put in all the forms and paid all the money. And
Okay, no problem. I was just curious because I didn't know. I couldn't understand why it was continuing if it had been already rejected. That's all. So I was just trying to figure out.
It has been, but there is a variance. As I understand it, there's a request for variance for hardship on this lot. So they're going back to the Board of Health.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Take a motion to continue, please, to October 20th. My math is correct.
So moved.
A second.
Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, that is continued. Tamika, at our next meeting,
Yes.
we need to be sure to book nothing for November 3. We will not have a meeting November 3.
Got
It's
it.
election day.
Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that closes this file. So now let us, just to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Yes, so let's reopen the notice of intent. We're going to do these one at a time. So for lot 1 on Emerald Road for Carol Viner, notice of intent hearing, and And there is lot number 1. So we did a site walk, same day we did the site walk on Finn Park. I don't know that anything on lot 1 changed.
I think just the connection of that erosion control barrier.
Right. And he more insisted on that than we did.
But we're not complaining.
Nope, no complaint. So we have a DEP number. Are there any other thoughts about, anybody want to say anything about our site walk?
I would just say, since the, to mitigate any concerns that the public may have, we did review the wetland line, and it was accurate compared to what's in the field and the flagging.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very nice break, so it was a good delineation.
Right. Are there more conditions we should think about for this? Because this isn't the one where he's moving the well. I don't think. No.
No, that was lot 2 and 3 that got moved.
Right. So for this one, other than the movement of the erosion or the connection of the barriers, there's no change to the plan. Are there any other conditions we would like, any special conditions for these orders?
I don't have any.
Hearing none. Is anyone from the public have any comment about this plan or our hearing? Hearing none. Do we have any reason not to close this tonight?
Nope.
I hear of no reason. So, I'd like to take a motion to close, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Bertolucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. All right, that's 1. We don't have the orders done for these, right, Tamika?
No, but if you would like to vote tonight, I can absolutely get them taken care of.
No, let's plan to do the orders at the next meeting.
Because if it's
I mean, this
standards, then we already have the document.
that's true.
Yeah,
So we could actually, how about we wait until we go through the other 2, and then we'll discuss orders for the 3 as a bunch
Sure.
when we do the orders. Okay. So, I'm gonna reopen the hearing for lot 2 on Emerald Road. Hey, come on. Did anything change? Did the well location change on 2?
Because of its proximity to the lot 1 septic, it was able to move slightly away, because we went from the 100-foot buffer from that one to from the 110 to the 100. It moved
Right.
slightly away from it, in addition to the offset from lot 3. Those buffers changed, so these lots wells slightly moved.
Yep.
The bigger one being the lot 3 well. It got the 10 feet uphill from the wetland.
Yeah, that one's a big deal, relatively speaking. Okay. Any questions from the commission or comments? Any questions or comments from the public? Any special orders on this one? We're fine with the barrier as defined. What was that, Waddles?
It was going to be wattles with the silt barrier behind it. I think it's indicated in the note. It's a combination of both.
Oh, it's probably right there if I looked ever so slightly to the right.
That's okay.
And it's even straw. Fantastic. Okay. Hearing nothing else about it, I'll take a motion to close.
Motion to
moved.
close.
I'll second.
Roll call. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Bertolucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. 2 down. And now, going to reopen the hearing for lot 3. I'm going to actually zoom in just a smidge more. There we go. Okay, so this shows, if I remember right, this is the old location of the well, is that correct? Or is that the new location?
That is the new location. I got it as close as I could without obviously being too close as far as the line work to the reserve area.
Right.
It actually came up 2 feet in elevation, so it was actually at the lower contour line, and with the revision to the well setback from the septic system, it came up 2 feet in elevation, and it did get approximately 10 feet further away from that line.
Right, yeah, because the wetlands, yeah, that's right here. So the longer that distance, the happier I am. But nobody has to do extra work when it's at 100. That's nice.
Yep.
I think that was probably our biggest concern on this lot. Questions or comments from the commission?
For this one, can we also connect the upper erosion control barrier to the next lot like we did on the first one?
I believe we gonna put that as like a special condition to close that gap once
Okay.
the well was drilled.
Yep. All right, that's fine. I just want to make sure that was, so they're all kind of consistent throughout, but.
Okay,
Peter, I just had one quick comment.
yes.
Pretty minor thing, but on the south side of the house, where they have the grading kind of tapering off, looks like it's a 3-to-1 slope down from the deck off to the south. From contour 1064 to 1060, that looks like about a 3-to-1 slope, but then contour 1058 is really close to contour 1060. I think that it probably just needs to get offset a few more feet. It's a minor thing, but I'm guessing the intent was to do a 3-to-1 all the way down to the bottom to the 1058.
So just in that was more so just for the preservation of material that they, as you can see, they are already trucking in so much, especially with the Title V sand. We kind of gave them roughly a flat back underneath the port deck and everything. Went 1 on 3, and then we went the 1% right in that area just to preserve and stay for and achieve basically a further offset from the wetland flags.
Okay. Is the 3-to-1 slope, I'm assuming that's kind of the intended steepest slope for these graded areas?
Yeah, just to catch grade without getting too far down the hill, and then also to give a relatively easy backyard to mow and still reach the grading we needed to for the house grading. And then once we were so far off the house, we went just 1% just to tighten it up and reduce materials in that area.
Okay.
How is this steeper part of the slope going to, how are we going to protect long-term erosion on that? What's going to keep it from flowing off in the next rain?
So I believe that area would be loamed and seeded. It's not too far away from the house, so I believe all the areas, and we had a note on the plan. I believe we have a bunch actually, but in there, one of the notes references that all disturbed areas be loamed and seeded, and the sediment barriers remain in place until the areas are stabilized with lawn.
Sure.
So, all those disturbed areas would be loamed and seeded.
Other questions? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments? So we talked about the special order for for connecting. Any other special orders? Any reason not to close?
No, I don't think so.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll move to close the public hearing for Lot 3, Emerald Drive Road.
Second.
Roll call. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Awesome. Okay, so now let's talk briefly about the orders. Get out of you. So there certainly isn't a problem. There were no specials for 1. I don't think there were specials for 2. Were there? Or am I wrong? Because it was minutes ago, so I can't remember.
No, you're right.
So then it's just that 1 special for 3. So if you can work with, Melissa, if you could work with Tamika on the wording of that special.
Sure.
And then knowing that there aren't any, I don't have a problem voting on 1 and 2. I just don't know if we want to wait for next time to vote on 3. What is the commission's pleasure?
I'm fine with 3. I think the special condition would be that the erosion controls on Lot 3 shall connect to Lot 2 after the well is drilled.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that too.
All right, then. Let's do these one at a time also, just for form's sake. So I'll take a motion to sign orders of conditions for Lot 1 with no special conditions, allowing me to sign on behalf of the commission.
So moved.
Second.
Cannon,
Aye.
Denza,
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. I'll take an equivalent motion for Lot 2.
So moved.
So, second.
This is one of the funniest things about Zoom, I gotta say. Okay, Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. And same thing for Lot 3 with its special condition.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. We got 3 orders. Tamika, let me know when they're done.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank the board for their time.
Thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Stephen, before you go, where would you like me to mail the originals to?
If you could, the main office in Grafton, I could give you the address if you'd like, or you could, I could send an email. If you could do it electronically, that would be okay.
Yeah, I can send you an email copy. I'll still have to send you the hard copies for the registry. But I emailed you earlier today, so if you don't mind just responding to that email with the mailing address, that would be great.
Okay, yes, I could do that.
Great, thanks, Stephen.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, moving on. So I have a few discussions. I'm going to take them out of order. Let's start with the site visit for Brice Lemon Estates. I know that Jared and Melissa went on a little site walk and took a few photographs. So are we interested in the, oh no, I don't have it up here. I don't know. Do we need the plans up? It's up to you. I mean, yeah, I'm going to let you talk.
Do you still have GIS up? I think that might be helpful.
GIS is up. I can go to, was it 73 Woodside as just an example?
That'll get us close, yeah.
I have to get you out of the way over here. Actually, oh no, yeah, actually, yes. You guys can all see what I see. How about that? All right. That should give us a pretty good view. If it ever fills in. All right, Jared, take it away, please.
Sure. So Melissa and I went out to the site. It was on a couple of Saturdays ago, September 19th. And we started walking kind of in the area. If you pan over to the right a little bit, Peter, we were kind of in the area of, I think it was like, 40, 42, 44 Woodside. We walked around that section of Woodside. We walked up, just trying to grab the name of the road here. I think it's Millbrook Circle, which is the short road.
This one
off
right
of
here,
Woodside.
yeah.
Yep, right there. So we were kind of walking in that area. We did talk to a few of the homeowners. If I have the house numbers correct, I believe it was 40 Woodside, and I think it was 4. I'm sorry, it's actually
I think that's actually Oakley.
Oakley Drive. Yeah, that's right. It is Oakley Drive.
I think-
4
Is that one further down?
No, it
it's-
is Millbrook Circle. I think they just renamed it because if you hover over those lots, the Oakley comes up.
All right, okay.
The one 3.01 is the one of the lots we went on and spoke with the homeowners.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah, that one right there. So both of the homeowners we spoke with mentioned stormwater issues, a lot of runoff, some of which at 40 Woodside was coming right down their driveway off of the roadway. There had been some temporary measures put in place. Some gravel was placed at the top of their driveway to try to runoff in the road. There are some nearby catch basins that it sounds like were catching the runoff, but there's a lot of disturbed areas. Most of the catch basins have pretty minimal, if any, inlet protection. No silt sacks, a few straw bales here and there, but not really much. And back up on
Were there silt sacks in the drainage? I don't know what to call them.
under the grates.
Yeah.
Not that I remember. Melissa, do you
Okay.
remember seeing any silt sacks in any of the catch basin grates?
No, because I think that was our comment because we were talking about how some sites use the stormwater basin as a construction basin, where
Right.
they just let all the sediment go, and that's kind of what it looks like they were doing because the stormwater basin was very sediment laden.
That is certainly consistent with how this project has been done so far,
Yeah.
where they just let it go and then they clean out the catch basins at the end.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that's how it's being handled. It's all just getting sent to that basin. Because we did walk down there, and there are a few pictures of the basin, and there's a lot of sediment in the basin too. And not that, that's all means and methods. It's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do it. It's just how they're handling it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things we did notice when we went up to the house up on Oakley Drive, 4 Oakley Drive. There's a fairly large swale that's runs right along where your cursor is, along that back property line,
Oh,
along their yard, and I think into the next parcel.
this is the one that goes down the
Yeah.
hill. Okay.
And so it's a pretty large wooded area up at the top of the hill there, and then there's a swale. And I did take some pictures of the swale. It's pretty eroded. It's mostly just earth, tree roots kind of poking out of it. The homeowners up there mentioned that as far as they know, the swale is kind of in its final condition, but it doesn't really look like it's in a final condition. It's
I would have expected at least riprap in
right. And there's really nothing in it. It's just exposed earth. So that was one thing just to make note of. I think the other big thing up in this area of the site, there are just some really, really, really steep slopes around here on a lot of the parcels. And not that that necessarily relates back to us, I don't think, in and of itself, but just something worth noting is a lot of the slopes on the backyards of the houses on the south side of Woodside that lead up to the houses on Oakley, and even some of the slopes around the backyards on the Oakley Drive
Yeah.
houses.
In
just
fact, I'm going to turn
really
off
steep.
contours because I know they're lying. Those are old
They-
contours before any of the road work was done.
Yeah,
This is all initial. Otherwise, this would be a silly.
right.
It's just not that way for real. Okay.
And that video that we were sent,
Mhm.
that I think was from, I might get the address wrong, I think it was at 47 Woodside, or it may have been 49. I can't remember exactly which one, but it was one of the
49.
Okay, thank you. That was coming from a really steep riprap. I'll call it a riprap swale. It was really a riprap slope.
Mm-hmm.
That swale at the back of the Oakley Drive properties kind of drains to, and then it comes down that very steep slope. The steep slope, that portion at least does have riprap, and then it kind of dumps out into their yard, and that's what we saw running down their driveway in that video. So there's just a lot of topography change in this area, and a lot of the slopes are really steep, and they're kind of a combination of, some of them are stone, some of them look like they're more wood chips. And again, not necessarily wetland related or anything, but just something worth noting. The big thing we found is Melissa and I went down to the basin, took a look at that. There was quite a bit of sediment in there. I mean, it does appear it's being
That's up
contained.
over here, right?
Yeah. It does appear it's being contained within the basin, but then we walked along the north edge, kind of east of the basin, and walked along the erosion control barrier and where the wetlands are. We found multiple breaches in the erosion control barrier and quite a bit of sediment beyond it. I'd say, I don't know, Melissa, probably a good at least 80 feet, maybe 100 feet beyond the erosion control barrier that we walked.
There was places where it was at least 100 feet into the BBW.
I don't know if anybody could tell from some of the pictures, but there were some spots where our boots sunk in 4, 6+ inches.
I returned home very muddy.
Me too.
Makes me even happier that I couldn't make it that day.
It's a beautiful day though. Great weather. So there's definitely something going on down there at the bottom of the slope. And there's quite a bit of sediment that's migrated into the wetlands.
Could I interject something here? I went down later and looked at that. Now, when they originally went in here, there was one basin, one catch basin down there. And there's it seems like it's expanded probably 3 times what it was.
Well, okay, now I'm gonna have to pull up the plan. I don't have a choice. So give me just a minute to find. Alrighty. All right, I'll ask the magic question. What's the date on this plan?
March 8, 2005.
Oof. There has to be a newer plan than that, doesn't there?
Well, and I think when I looked through this earlier today, and I apologize, I took a little bit to go through it. It didn't look like the contours were on here. It was just like the plan of land, unless I didn't go far enough.
Oh.
No, you're right, Melissa. I took a look too. It's just the, I guess,
Subdivision layout, yeah.
subdivision plans that indicate all the right-of-way lines and lot lines, and but that was it.
All right, let me see if I can find.
If you look at the table to the left, Peter, on this plan, it does note, I'm assuming sheets 14 to 24, the site plans probably have contours, drainage, all the proposed.
You would think so, yeah.
But it's not in this set. I don't know if that may not have been recorded at the
I was going to say this is only 14.
Yeah.
So this will be just a definitive plan.
Right.
And since this is, does this even, that's Charnock Hill, Sedona, this is Woodside. Yeah, this map does not represent the state.
Yeah, it doesn't have Oakley on it.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be the newest one. Or the latest one, even if just the regular plan of lands.
Right. And in fact, this could still potentially be valid from planning. I don't know anything about their processes, but DEP must have something different. They've got to.
I hope so.
Yeah, because there's nothing
No, it's all property lines and setbacks. And
Yeah, this is just lot delineation more than anything else.
Yeah, so I think, after we kind of looked at the site, and especially kind of, I think with all the confusion with the plans, I think it would be good to have, whether it's one representative from different boards or a joint meeting between Concom, planning, maybe the building commissioner, and maybe even DEP, would be beneficial to, and the builder, obviously, to understand where everyone is, where the compliance aspect stands, and to discuss some of, or any of the changes that, might have happened, whether they were in the field or whatnot, just to kind of make sure that everyone's on the same page. With this big of a development, I think there's just, a lot of pages of plans and variations of plans and
Right.
different agencies, that I really think that would be kind of the best next step to kind of resolve some of these issues.
Right. Well, I think what we can do right now is send, doesn't have to be a nasty gram, send something to Clee to say, these are the erosion barrier problems. These need to be fixed right away. Please get your people on it. And I don't think we have to be nastier than that, quite frankly, because in general, they've been responsive. So why DEP wouldn't have noticed that 100 feet of, well, let's not ask that question out loud very much right now.
Yeah, I definitely think, depending on, that's where the joint meeting might be helpful, because there's kind of a different jurisdiction in terms of, yes, they have the road and the stormwater features, but some of this is coming off the house lots that we permitted. So it's kind of that gray area that we could have jurisdiction, but DEP could also. And
Right.
The amount of BVW impact that they have created with this silt and sediment, could be pretty extensive. Some of it may not worth being cleaned up in certain areas, but those couple inches deep, is filling a pretty, whether that's part of that stream or not, I think would be pretty relevant to understand. So I think they need to come up with some sort of restoration plan for that area. And what's the word I'm looking for? Enumerate the impacts.
Right. Yes.
Send Lucas or whoever out they have out there to do the wetland stuff.
I'm not even sure who they have out there other than the DEP guy occasionally.
I know Lucas Environmental did their last submission,
All right.
so they might still retain him for this one.
Oh boy. All right. Then. So Tamika, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to Clee. Who's the DEP guy we were dealing? Was that Rantala? No, that. You're right.
Denise.
Oh yeah, Denise is as good a place as any to go. But there was a specific DEP guy who was dealing with this.
Gary Domain.
I'll go through my emails and find it. So let's get Clee, the DEP guy, Dave George, planning board. Send it to Norm and then let him distribute it as he likes. Building commissioner. Although, does the building commissioner have any jurisdiction here?
The only thing I wanted to,
It's not just jurisdiction. But you know what? It might not be good to have him there just as although we now have an interim building commissioner.
I think the other thing worth noting that came out of our site walk, and in particular with the homeowners, I think it was at 40 Woodside, is they have some large boulders along the back edge of their driveway. I believe that was the house where the last heavy rainstorm, at least one of the boulders kind of rolled down the hill.
Right.
And they had to fix it. I believe it was fixed. But I just think from just a safety concern, I think maybe the building inspector being part of the discussion, because the way that hillside was built, it is incredibly steep. And the way their backyard is, it's pretty level in the back, and then it just drops
Okay.
really, really quickly. And knowing that
Yeah, you
that
did
storm
mention that
event,
last time. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
just hearing that storm event washed out a boulder or two, I think there's a safety component to this too. Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't want the meeting to get out of hand, so I'd rather not. I mean, if there's anybody else who needs to be there, speak up. But if not, then let's keep it to that group. Just like one of these meetings, I do not want to turn this into a beat up on Clee because he's Clee. But we do want to get these problems taken care of.
Right.
And I agree, Melissa. I completely agree that we need to get a lot of people on the same page, just to understand, so that everybody's the same understanding of what's going on. And I think that meeting is the right way to do that. So, Tamika, if you could I don't want to send out an invitation. I want to send out a request for dates.
Sure.
So that way, again, there are going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to get it, but I think that we can arrange to find time that all of us can get together. Enough of us can get together to share the information as we need to and make some progress on figuring out what the next steps are. Now, I'd like that in addition to please get your erosion controls back in place, and let's get a plan for
Restoration.
restoration. Thank you. Restoration plan for Melissa. I'll let you, or you and Jared work with Tamika to figure out the right wording.
Yep.
Okay.
Will this meeting be public open to the public?
I can't begin to guess that yet.
Okay.
But I will say that any discussions that we do have as part of it, we will definitely be discussing in a public meeting afterwards, at the very least. So it's not meant to exclude the public. It's just during COVID, sometimes if it's orchestrated by DEP, then maybe one person of the commission goes, and therefore it's not a public meeting.
Well, and not only that, the other side of it is, I don't know how many people are physically going to be there, and therefore what the ability would be for us to actually host a Zoom meeting in that space. If everybody shows up physically, which is a possibility, then I don't know that we could accommodate people, humans, accommodate any public members in any space that we could get into. I don't know. This is why I don't want to commit to say yes, and I absolutely am not going to say no, it's not going to be a public meeting.
So Peter, do you want me to present it as there is an option to do Zoom, or are we looking for this to be an in-person participation situation?
Maybe even meeting out there.
I was just going to say, does this meeting want to happen on site?
Well, with any luck, we're going to have people with plans and documentation, and that might be harder to deal with on site.
True.
Because I personally want to physically see DEP's plans. Now, if they're actually available online someplace that I just can't find, that's great. I'm happy with that too.
Peter, do you think it would be worthwhile to have Carl Haldgren there? Because it was his report that first raised some of these erosion controls when he provided it to the planning board recently.
That might be up to the planning board.
Yeah, I would let the planning board decide if they want a consultant in as well. It would not, in my opinion, it's not a bad idea. You're right. He brought it up. I would love to know for sure if there's a third party wetlands inspection, which Carl did not do for this project. And if so, those are the people I really want to have present. All right, so Tamika, you can get those things out. It's time to open the floodgates. Let people who would like to comment on this. You've heard what we've said about from the report. You've heard what we're planning to do next. Do you have any questions or comments we can answer for you? Please just raise your hand and we'll let you speak one at a time, please. I'm hearing nothing. I'm going to take that as assent that people are satisfied with what we're talking about here. We don't need a motion. So I think this topic is finished. Unless anyone from the commission has anything else to say about it at all.
Don't get sucked into the mud.
Circumstances, whatever.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear what that was. Okay, I am going to move on. Back to the agenda. So we talked about that. So now let's talk about, oh, Skip's not here. Concern it, but okay. So, oh, now I need to go back to this and go to, because I remember too much now having done this. 68A1. What? That's the wrong number. Now, so I don't remember well enough. 68A8. Ah. That's the one. All right. So there have been a number of properties that the town has taken in tax title. They've all been foreclosed upon. The town now owns them and they're putting them up for auction on, I think I saw November 4th was the date that they announced. Doesn't matter. One of the properties is this one that's highlighted. It is property that in Rutland has no frontage and is substantially all mapped wetlands. So it's landlocked and you couldn't build on it even if you wanted to. Small asterisk. So the person or company in charge of the foreclosure said, don't put this one up for auction. It'll only drag down the prices of all the others that are going up. And there are quite a number of properties going up for sale. A number of them are also landlocked unless the road that they were supposed to be put on ever gets built. I don't know if you remember Sunnyside Estates and Karen Way, and well, it doesn't matter. A bunch of those are going up. There are a bunch of things that are going up. However, this one property, it was suggested that the town hold on to it and put it into the hands of the Conservation Commission. I don't think there's any talk about putting a CR on it, but so the question is, what does the commission think about this? I haven't taken a walk on the site. Well, you can't get there, but even if you could, nobody's been out there to look at it to see what the shape is, to see how wet it really is. I know this looks really wet and I've heard rumors that it's wet, but I don't know how wet it is. Does the commission have any feelings either way upon taking this 71 acres of land and keeping it in control of the Concom?
I mean, I think if that's what the recommendation of other town entities are, and it's a relatively quote unquote useless piece of property, there's no necessary harm because most likely, even if someone bought it, we wouldn't be getting really tax revenue from it. Mm-hmm. As long as, I guess, town council says it's okay, to not have frontage or, making sure that we're not inheriting some weird liability, but if the town already owns it, then it's just changing it over to the care and control of the Concom. So
That's correct. That's all it is. The town does own it now. It's even in the GIST database is owned by town of Rutland. It is landlocked. Is there liability? I don't. Well, there certainly would not be more liability if the Concom were to hold it as opposed to the town as a whole.
Right. We can have the Eagle Scout go take a look and take some pictures for us.
There you go. Now that's a good 3 hours of time.
Yeah, he can go do a little survey for us, you know, here lies the pond, or, you know, whatever. That'd be one option.
Absolutely.
Make a report for us.
That's a really good one. I like that one. So this was before the select board last night, and it's my understanding they punted to us to see what we wanted to do with it before, so they didn't make any decision or take any official position. There were ideas around like, hey, let's offer to the butters to see if they want to own a really large piece of property. But as you said, Melissa, I'm not sure there's a lot of use to anyone. And I mean, other than acting as a giant buffer to a neighbor, I'm not sure what the value would be to an abutter. I'm not saying it can't be there. Oh, let me also give you a little context with respect to last meeting. You all might remember, come on, paint. You all might remember this property, which is Jordan Farms, which is where the soil importation took place, and Overlook Farms, which is where some of it, well, the detention stuff was, and detention basin was. Then this land in between owned by a different Williams, and then there's this property. So that's contextually where it is. And in fact, right here, there is a sign that says, DPW, please fix this road. Because it is in very bad shape. But
Is it a gravel road?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it used to be.
It's for off-roading now.
Yeah, it's a farm road path.
Okay.
But I think Overlook is owned by the town. I haven't looked into it, but I think it is.
I'm assuming we don't know if any of the abutters have any interest.
No one has reached out to the abutters at all.
Okay. All right.
Who owns that little parcel at the corner that would have the frontage? Okay.
The Williamses. That's John. Oh, and that's also Jonathan. Okay.
I'd be
All right.
even curious, be like, maybe not necessarily like a land swap, but kind of in terms of if the property is at all walkable, you know, maybe getting some frontage and he could have some of that parcel while we could have access to the road.
No, I kind of expected to see a house here. But I don't see one.
No.
Because that would be like, you know, nice little parking area. And
Does that say septic system?
in this area,
Huh.
nice. All right, so maybe not.
Let me just turn off the wetland. Nope, there ain't nothing there. Oh, wait, is there something right here? That is a house.
Is it?
I think that's a crack.
Probably. It probably is.
Or it's a tree. So yeah, it looks pretty wet, so maybe not walkable. It
Yeah.
looks pretty boggy.
You can walk it with your mud boots, right?
I've sacrificed too many.
And this is Princeton, clearly. Oh, that's got to be the continuation of Overlook Road.
Yeah.
Which looks not very well maintained right here, doesn't it?
No.
One of the things I was wondering about when I looked at this is I wonder if whoever owned this, that it would have met up in Princeton. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would say my recommendation would be that, I wouldn't be against taking the care and control of the property, but we will, but we are more than happy to discuss with neighbors, I guess, if that's what they want to do.
We could certainly, it's easy to get in the butters list.
I mean, it's probably a little beautiful piece of property.
Let me turn contours back on.
So right over the town line, adjacent to Overlook Road,
Yeah.
there is this tiny triangular parcel. It's really odd. That I think, actually, I don't even know who owns it because there's no information on Oliver.
Right. Yeah, we'd have to find the Princeton
Yeah.
GIS database.
It connects to Overlook Road and back to this property. It's a teeny little piece, and it's separate from that larger one.
Right, and
It
if the
also
road
goes-
continues this way, it
Yeah.
could easily, yeah,
It's-
right
it-
here.
There's a little parcel right there. It's minute.
Are we allowed, is the Conservation Commission allowed to own property in another town?
I don't see why not.
My first reaction is town of Worcester owns, the city of Worcester owns land in Rutland.
Yeah.
So does the federal government,
Mhm.
though that's a different scale of things. And Massachusetts owns, oh my God, so much of the town. But since the city of Worcester does, it would make me think, so that I'm just wondering if we were to approach Princeton, say, hey, if we were to take it, if we were to also get this, if they've already taken it, because again, I don't know that they were owned by the same entity, but if they were, it would be a very interesting thought. Maybe I can reach out to the assessors no, I don't know anybody in the assessor's office here anymore.
So it's a Carlson that owns the one across in Princeton.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just pulled up Princeton's.
Yeah, the bigger parcel.
Oh, the big
It's a
parcel.
big
Yeah.
parcel. This tiny.
Oh, there's this. Oh, okay, hold on. I hate there.
We love computers.
Like the little rectangle one.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
It looks like it has about maybe 50 feet of frontage on Overlook Road.
oh, I was not zoomed in enough.
Really small.
Let's see. That is, lordy.
I can tell you this.
I do not have a vehicle that's in appropriate shape to drive up Overlook to look at this either.
It doesn't have an owner listed.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is 1,970 square. That's how small.
Oh
it
my
is.
Yeah, it just says zeros everywhere.
See if I can directly or indirectly get hold of the assessors so that I can get a booking page, see who owns
Yeah.
it.
Land value 0. City
Yeah.
Princeton. So maybe the town owns it because literally it just says,
Right.
it doesn't have an owner. It just says City Princeton.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know what I could trade for it, but maybe they just give it to us. Because 0 is 0.
You might.
Weird. I hate
So-
GIS.
Peter, I'm going to just do a screenshot of this and I'll email it.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we do have 2 courses of action. One is to send letters to all of the abutters to see if there's any interest. And
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess that would be, I mean, not to push it off on the selectmen, but you know, I guess that would kind of be their prerogative if they want to offer it up first.
I'm assuming the original thought was they would, and there's other parcels that they would sell them and it would be revenue for the town, right?
yeah,
Yeah, there's an auction in November.
right. So, right, there's the auction to recoup the tax money by
Yeah.
sale, and
Yep.
then they're back on the tax rolls.
Right. So I don't have a strong opinion either way. I mean, I think if nobody's interested and we take over as owners of the property, I'm fine with that. But if somebody is interested, and I don't know how much they would actually get for it, but if it would help the town with some revenue, that's not a bad thing.
Maybe
either.
it would, maybe it wouldn't. So,
I don't know.
all right. So, Tamika, can you draft a letter? I will get you the abutters list.
Yeah.
And we can start sending it out. I'd like to set I want to set a deadline for when they can respond.
Well, I would also talk to the BOS as well, because there's a process in which if it's not going to be auctioned off, then it has to be a town meeting vote. And they would probably
Well-
understand that process more than,
Oh, yeah, certainly to transfer it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
To transfer to us.
No,
no.
to transfer, if we were to sell the property to someone else, it's a different process than auction. And that would require town meeting because it's disposition of real property.
Got it.
And considering town meeting is going to be November 12, current date, we don't have time.
No, the warrant closes on October 26th.
Right.
Would that apply to all, I don't know how many other parcels there are, but all the other ones, if they're looking to sell those would require
No. Because they're going to auction, that's one way you can dispose.
oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Because, to be clear, that's disposing through tax title. And because of that, they can do an auction. They don't need town meeting vote. They have, the treasurer collector has authority to do that all on her
If
own.
it's an auction.
Because it's an auction.
Got it.
But this, might end up being an auction, but it's not being sold for tax title recovery. It is just selling it. And that's why we'd have to go to town meeting.
Oh, I thought it was still tax title recovery, but the auctioneers suggested just the Concom taking it because it'd be such a small land value. It would unevenly affect the other land values around it of the approximate size within town because it's all wet.
So of these two paths, does the commission have an opinion which way is better? Or, excuse me, preferred. That's the better word. Prefer to sell it to somebody else or prefer to keep it ourselves? And if we keep it ourselves, I would also suggest that we would try to get the attaching property to Overlook Road. But that's a separate thing. So keep or sell. This is not a motion,
I
This is
would,
an opinion. Go ahead, Will.
just my opinion, I think I would check with the abutters first, and then if none of them were interested, we we could keep it and look into getting that little section in Princeton.
Okay.
I would agree. You know, if this was more easily accessible, I think I would not hesitate in keeping it ourselves. But I think with it being in the state that it is, there's not really much that can be done with the property.
Okay. So, Tamika, I have yet another letter for you to write.
Okay, am I still doing the letter to the abutters?
No, you are not doing a letter to the abutters.
Okay, scratch that.
Um,
What would you like?
so I would like to send a letter to the select board saying the Conservation Commission, oh, we probably need a vote first. Well, we've already heard it from a couple of members. So I'd like a motion that we send a letter to the select board indicating our preference that we first see if abutters are interested in the property and if the select board believes there's sufficient value to sell the property that way. If the select board deems that there is insufficient value, Conservation Commission will happily take this property and will attempt to work with the town of Princeton to
Get
acquire
access.
the access to Overlook Road.
Yeah, what you said.
There.
Second.
All right, roll call. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Bertolucci,
Aye.
Crane eye. All right, there's our plan of action. Fantastic. And curse and blaspheme. I can say that because there's nobody else on. So we did that and that. Now, the only problem with handing off this project for mapping this or documenting the state of this property is that he doesn't have access.
An Eagle Scout. Can you deny an Eagle Scout? Is that ethical?
Hold on.
I
Because
think
really,
this is a project so they can get his Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
well, that's true. So really, he just needs to talk to the Williams, talk to Dick.
Be like, can I go across 50 feet of your land to get to this piece of property?
Right.
He could tiptoe down the Princeton line.
As far as I'm concerned, he can walk on the Princeton line.
Peter, I was gonna say, last night at the select board meeting, they discussed trying to figure out how to fix the fence that surrounds the central tree. And they're gonna have to check with the historical commission, but they were trying to see if maybe they could get volunteers that could do it. So I don't know if maybe that's something he could check with the historical commission and see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know what the requirements is that he's missing. All he said was the requirement for life. I admit, I have no idea what that means because I think he's succeeding at living. So more than that. But Tamika, that's a good idea. I could certainly ask him if that's within bounds for him. But they still need somebody to donate the materials. Or to provide the materials is what I should say. Because as was discussed, the town actually has no jurisdiction with the central tree or its surrounding area. Because an easement was written, but it was never adopted and passed and accepted by the town. So the central tree and its fence is on the property line of two properties in town. Of course it is. So the town has no jurisdiction, has no authority.
Two private properties?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
All right, but that's a good idea, Tamika. Do me a favor. Send me a text about that tomorrow, and I'll reach out to Logan about it.
Okay.
Oh, we're gonna run later than 7:30. Damn it, because we're already after 7:30. Damn it. Final draft review of the conservation restriction. So last time we were here, I did all the edits live. I have changed nothing since then. There was one thing that I didn't find, and I didn't remember until it was too late to do even more research about having to mark the property boundary. And
So
I wish. Yeah,
Oh.
go ahead.
No, so I think it's most commonly, I was just trying to search quickly before the meeting, that under the access section would probably be the best place to put that.
Oh, here's the conservation restriction. Not a prohibited access. Oh, where would that go?
Towards the bottom. It'd be one of the last ones. Right there.
Oh, access. I just passed it.
So when it talks about the right to perform boundary lines, I think adding in there that boundary, corners or points of the boundary that are deemed appropriate by the grantee and grantor shall be installed. I guess it depends if you want them to pay for it or us to pay for it.
Yeah, there's no question who I want to have pay for it.
Go for it. Within X amount of time of the recording of the conservation restriction. So usually it's like, a couple months within the recording or something.
I'm not sure how that lives in access.
Because it's talking about the right to perform a survey of the boundary lines. So I've also seen access, usually access also talks about parking and where parking is allowed. And it sometimes creates different envelopes. So because you're not creating different envelopes, you can easily be putting in there that the access is the boundary as defined by the boundary markers, to be installed, etc.
Now this is the baseline one.
What's that second one?
The
second search result.
I just can't find my cursor there.
Oh.
Down to here. I said go down to here.
Yeah, so where's that under?
Hey, that's where I saw it in the freaking original. I wish I'd remembered that when I started. Legal remedies of the grantee. So let's go back to this one.
It is in there. It's the last sentence.
You have the boundaries. Why could
Oh,
I
in
not?
the event of a dispute. So you could just write once, or what is the yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it says over
Okay.
here.
So that's why that's in legal and injunctive relief, because it's in the event of a dispute. It could be something that we asked John forget it, from EEA.
Oh, yeah. I would swear I saw. Oh, that's the wrong darn one. All right, maybe I'm making it up and maybe because I can't find it, so it makes me think that I just thought it was a great idea to do and never saw an example of it.
Well, that wouldn't preclude us from adding it if we want to,
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right,
section.
and I don't have a problem with putting it in. Yeah, because it's not a value. It's not a prohibited act in use. It's not a reserved right or exemption.
I'm assuming the town doesn't require for a new subdivision, lot corners.
Not yet.
We do, okay.
They're adding it. They're
Okay.
talking about adding it.
Okay, yeah, because I've done work in other towns where they do require that. Outside of, obviously, a conservation restriction, it's just required for any new subdivision.
Peter, I can just reach out to John, because I have his email through work and see, what his thoughts on it was. And I
All
can
right.
also probably get the status of this from him as well.
Oh, yeah. So the good news, I mean, you mentioned the red line. This is the red line because I started with their stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess my only comment would be, if he has reviewed it, did he have any comments, or was the version that we got, after his comments? So I
Fair
guess I
question.
just want to see if they've even seen it at all or not. So he should definitely have that. So I have no problem following up with him to see kind of where that stands and his thoughts on that, the boundary markers.
All right, fantastic. So we will continue this till next time and hopefully be really finished next time. Let me get rid of this and this. I'm going to say without looking at the agenda, is there any other business to come before the commission tonight? And I hear cheers from the back room already. Look, I didn't even bring up photos once. That's okay. You didn't ask me to.
There's such good photos, though.
Actually, there's a lot of good stuff there. What is this? Oh. Huh. All right. I will take a motion from the commission.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's the race of seconds. Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Natalucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.